Good morning, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. It is the 16th, the premiere day of the Santa Clauses. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't that drop at 3 in the morning, Eastern time? Why the fuck did you watch that and not watch Andor? And the answer is Disney gave me screeners of this in advance, so I had the screeners a day early, so I was able to watch this last night, and so I had this a day early, so I was able to do that. Now, the first two episodes, they didn't give me anything more than was initially going to be released. They just gave me the same thing that everyone got on Disney Plus, just about 12 hours earlier, or closer to 24, but it gave me an opportunity to watch it last night before going to bed, and then I could record this in the morning. But the episodes are out now. If you are so inclined to watch them, you can go and watch them. I feel bad. Why should I feel bad? I mean, it's my job to tell you something's good or if it's shitty, and I wouldn't feel bad if I watched it tonight and then tomorrow came in and was like, this is shitty. Like, why would I feel bad about that? So why should I feel bad about this? You know, that kind of thing. But either way, it's not a good show. I'm sorry. It's not a good show. It's not, it's a lot. There are a few jokes that land, mostly in the second episode. But there are, like, logical leaps and bounds that are just like, I don't quite understand how they do it, because it's like, it's meant to be it's very much a sequel to all the other Santa Claus movies, which the original came out in, like, I must say 93, 94, which I watched as a kid and I loved that movie. Then, like, 10 years later, they put out the second one, which was the one with the plastic Santa, and then there was the one, like, 3 years after that, if I remember correctly, where there's this really weird time in Hollywood, I don't know if anyone else remembers this, where there was this go back to the first one and undo it kind of thing, because, like, the Santa Claus did it, Shrek did it, I feel like there were others that did it, and it was all around the same time, and it was in that where it was, he wishes that he could undo everything he did because the stress is getting to him, and Martin Short takes over, and all of these things are referenced throughout this and stuff like that, where it's like, the issue is there, and I feel like the idea that, there are some good E.T. jokes that happen where it's like he's having issues with his magic because people aren't believing in Santa anymore, which is creating this thing where his magic's not working because it's functional believing in Santa, which, alright, fine, I understand, like, that makes sense, and then he goes into denial about it, which, okay, again, I could see that happening too, but there's what's her name, Elizabeth Mitchell, Carol, that's her name, she has this great joke where it's like, well, you're over 65, that kind of performance issue can happen in men of your age, and it's like, oh, it's a sick joke. All right, I feel at home again. And it's like the joke that is so few and far between. Because in the second episode, there's a great episode because it's like at that point he had decided he's going to retire and find his replacement, and he's like, he's going to bring in Charlie, his son, and he's like, oh, all right, I'm going to do that, and I'll just hang out here with him, and the new head elf goes to Santa. What is this, the Vatican? And I was like, that's a smart joke. Like, that's a good joke. I appreciate that. I was thinking the whole time, what is this, like the popes? And it's like, I appreciate that. But things like that are few and far between for the show, where it's like, it's all kind of just very, I don't know if silly is the right word necessarily, but I mean, looking at what was happening with this. I just can't quite understand why do the effects look so bad. And it's not like the effects look bad because it's like, oh, they're trying to stay with the style. Because there are instances of that where it's like they're very much trying to stay with the style. But like, I don't understand why the effects look so bad. And I think the other thing is, too, there are too many on-the-nose flashbacks where it's like, I get what you're going for here. And the thing is, too, it's like, I watched I read the description of the episode before I watched it, and the description for the first episode is like Santa goes back to one of his favorite houses, and discovers that how much time has passed. And my first thought was, oh, he's gonna go back to that little girl from the first movie, like, and that's gonna be a cool moment where it's like he's gonna go back to that little girl from the first movie, and he's gonna realize how much older he's gotten. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I like that. I like that idea. And you get this kind of moment where you can do this, this method of him confronting his own mortality in that way. And like the way this scene plays out, he's just so poorly. And then on top of it, they show you a flashback to the first movie, as if you don't like. Because that's the thing is, like, I don't know if they're intending this to be for a new audience, or if they're just intending for this to be, like... And, like, that's the other thing, too, is it's like, if you're having this issue where your magic is draining because kids aren't believing in Santa Claus every year, and less and less kids are believing in Santa Claus, and then we have this whole, this whole thing with, what's what I'm looking for here? Like, I'm missing. I'm totally missing the what I was gonna say. Where it's like, if that's the case, where it's like as less kids believe in Santa, you get less and less powerful as Santa. Then like, why the fuck is like why did it suddenly happen? Like, why is it now all of a sudden? Like it's all of a sudden happening. If it's an incremental thing, like, and then like he shows up at the girl's house and the girl didn't believe in Santa anymore because the girl's like almost 30, and it's like, okay, like I get it, but you make it sound like you go to this house every year. How is this the first year this has happened? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand. And then the girl to have the reaction she does after this man, again, it's the exact same house, makes a exhaust thing turn into a chimney, and he comes out into a chimney. Like, how the fuck is she having this reaction where it's like, oh, this guy's breaking in, and it's like, come the fuck on. Like, it's so dumb. Like, I don't know, it's just, and then on top of it too, it's like, there's this weird through line of like, every joke you've ever heard made about wokeism is also in the show, and it's like, I hate the word wokeism because it's like, it's not something that was ever coined by the people who were, whatever, we're not getting into that, but like, there's a whole scene with the naughty or nice list, and it's like, they're going through it, and the girl is like, and there's one little elf who's meant to be an annoying, like, college student type, and it's like, you can't say that anymore. And it's like, that's not naughty, that's, that's this, we'll consider that, that's shaming, and I'm like, at this point in the show, I'm like, oh my god, Santa is literally going to retire because of political correctness. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was just caught so off guard by that I was like, it's not even funny, because you're retreading the same jokes that we've heard so many times before on Tim Allen's other show that he did post Home Improvement on Fox, and it's like, oh, it's the exact same nonsense, just with a Santa suit on it, instead of it just being Tim Allen ranting at the screen in his own way. I guess I was just, it's one of the things that you see it and you're like, no fucking way this is where they're going with this plot. And it's like, to an extent it's not, but it's certainly a contributing factor. Like, I don't understand. I don't... It's just kind of silly to me. And it's one of those things where, like, you're watching this and you're like, really? Like, it's so not... And then the effects are bad. The production design has gotten worse since 1993, which I don't know how the fuck that's possible. Everything doesn't look quite as nice as it did. It's not shot as well. Like, and this kid Noel, or Noel they call him, I guess he's annoying, so they don't call him by his real name. They call him Noel. I don't understand. And there are some interesting things that get brought up throughout it that I hope that future episodes explore. Because I would love to know, because it's one of those things that kind of, like, people who are fans of it have kind of asked in the intervening years since, where it's like, it's kind of fucked up. Like, you know, if he was still Santa, the guy that Scott murdered to become Santa, if he was still Santa at the time that he, you know, that he was, you know, killed, then didn't he have a Mrs. Claus? What happened to Mrs. Claus? What happened there? And why were the elves all just kind of cool with this? And they do kind of explain it, where it's like Santa as an entity just continues on with no one person, you know, doing the, you know, being him 100% of the time. Like, okay, I totally understand that, but, like, again, doesn't answer the question, what did you do with the old Mrs. Claus? And one of the other things that I thought was an interesting little thing to note was that the new card that they put on, that they have for him, has the clauses. But the thing is, too, here's what I don't get. If we have this thing, where we already have an avenue in this universe to get out, I thought, because wasn't that what the third one was? Like, the third one was the escape clause. It's the one, how do you get out of this? How do you get out of this arrangement this devil's pact that you found? You know, you found yourself in. Because there's, again, I love that one video where it's like someone edited a trailer together to make it look like a horror movie. I'm like, it's genius, because it could very well be a body horror movie, and it works so well as that. But within that trailer. But I think that, like, looking at what this is, they already have something in there, and in the new card, all the font is bigger, so it's easier to read that you need to have the X, Y, and Z to continue being Santa. I don't know. It's just kind of strange. And also, like, these two kids that he's got that are growing up at the North Pole. Why does he have to stay at the North? Maybe I'm forgetting in one of the other movies they say why he has to stay at the North Pole the entire time. But, like, I mean, it's his job, yes, but, like, can the kids not go to school elsewhere? Like, is there no plan to, like, it's just such a weird decision to have these kids just grow up there and just be weird, and it's like, alright, whatever. And that's the thing, too, it's like, you know, these kids are severely antisocial because they don't have anyone to talk to besides each other. And it's like, well, why the fuck is... And you know what it's going to be. It's by the end of the show, these two kids are going to be well-adjusted. They made the right decision. He's not going to be Santa anymore. The kids are going to be back to being well-adjusted, normal kids. And it's like, I don't think you can undo that level of psychological damage in another 2 hours, because I think there's 2 to 3 hours, because the episodes are only a half hour long, and I think there are only 4 episodes left because it's only 6 episodes. It's just so not good. Like, so many things don't work in the and that's the thing too. It's like, it's not nostalgia that I'm looking at this through the eyes of, like, well, I remember the original, and the original I like, but the original going back is not good. The original still stands up as a perfectly fine movie. The sequels are a little fucky at times, and they're not great, but in the same way that I love the prequels, I'll still go back and I can rewatch those movies. I don't... like, that first movie holds up in a way that, like, this elf just being loud and dumb as his entire personality trait, and to have him have as much screen time as he does, it's like, what the fuck? Like, and in this world where it's like, this year we got Hocus Pocus 2, and we have the nostalgia sequel, kind of taking, kind of becoming this thing, or what was the word that they used in Scream, in Scream 5, I think it was, or the most recent Scream. I forgot what the term they actually used was for it, where it's like, we're kind of rebooting, we're kind of doing a sequel. It's, it's Star Wars, it's all that kind of stuff, but I forgot what the exact term they used was, but, like, that's kind of what this is. It's a sequel, it's a reboot, it's all of that. But, like, I just don't understand it. And the only thing about this show that I've liked so far was Kal Penn and his kind of character arc. Because his character arc is kind of mirroring Scott's from the beginning of the Santa Claus, and I'm liking where it's going. But then by the time we get to the end of the second episode, I'm not going to spoil it, but something happens and I'm just like, there's only one blink and you miss it moment of setup for this. Like, you couldn't be bothered to fully set up this moment a little bit more. Like, maybe cut the screaming elf a little bit and just, make this work a little bit better. I just don't understand it. Also, like, apparently there are gnomes in this world, too, that also have power, like, that also are doing things to the point where the elves and the gnomes have a problem, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, I guess, like, whatever. And it's like, I'm watching this show, and the entire, like, I almost turned it off within the first 10 minutes, but I was like, they gave me the screener, let me give them the what's it called, the decency to watch it all the way through. Maybe the show will improve by the finale. Maybe the show will get better by the time we get to the end. I'm not going to hold my breath, though. I don't think we're going to be in this thing where we're going to end up with the greatest thing ever. I think that, like, the way they handled the moment in the first episode where he meets the little girl from that first movie, I think is going to be indicative of how the show goes. And I think that that's kind of what the problem is that moment really sets the tone for the entirety of the show. Like, I think that that's going to be the thing that's going to define how this is going forward. It could definitely be better. There's definitely room for improvement. I'm not saying there isn't. I am saying it's really just, I don't know. There's so much wrong with this show that if you're in the second episode and you're filling screen time, you know you've kind of fucked up. And that's just me. And I don't know. I mean, it feels like I've missed a scene getting into the last scene in the second episode. It feels like I've missed a scene where it's like, but why is this happening? Like, there's no explanation given. It's just, we're just skipping from point A to point B. And it's this character who we've seen once prior. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, it's just such a weird decision. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's not great. So, if you want to check it out, it's on Disney Plus. It's only an hour to get through both episodes total. So, it's not a huge time commitment if you want to render your own judgment. But we'll wrap up there for today. Tomorrow we have Andor. I will eventually catch up on Titans. And until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.